I do want to ask you about your NXT run because, like you mentioned, you went there to reinvent yourself, and I can say, like, as a viewer, I saw that, and so many people saw that. I talked to people on social media, on the chat, that were like, "Hey, shit, Dijak's kind of killing it out here." How did you feel about the stuff that you were able to do on NXT?
I was super happy with it. Super happy. It was a they gave me the platform to reinvent myself. They being, Shawn Michael. Well, I mean, and to a certain extent, Triple H and Bruce Pritchard, who ultimately sent me there, right? They it was their choice to put me on NXT. But in terms of the way that I was presented on NXT, that's Shawn Michaels and Johnny Russo. So credit to all of them. Without that opportunity, I'm in a much different spot right now, right? Because that whole year, I called it very publicly. I called it the best year of my career, and I still feel that way. Even right now, I still feel like I'm in the middle of the best run of my career because I'm physically healthy. Knock on wood. I'm still not as athletic as I was probably 3 or 4 years ago, but close enough, close enough in the ballpark where the things that I can control are still completely up to standard. In terms of footwork and violence and the things that I teach and sort of speak to me about professional wrestling. Those are still completely on point. Quite frankly, I can still do all the corkscrew moonsault stuff off the top. I don't do it as much anymore. I'm saving it for whatever biggest stage I can I can find.
Hey, everybody's got that bump card.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, I'm trying to limit it as I move closer and closer to the age of 40. But yeah, the NXT run, I was given so many opportunities, so many amazing matches, so many. More than the matches, though, is the storylines. I was so happy with the presentation of the story and the character and the stuff I got to do, like you mentioned with Joe Gacy, where I had him in the not, it wasn't a cell. It was like I put him in like a crazy person's room because the story was he's an insane person. And I'm trying to like beat the crazy out of him or whatever, but just those interactions, it was so much fun. It gave me the opportunity to really work on my acting skills, which I've been working tirelessly with my acting coach, Howard Fine, who's actually from here. I wish I set up something to visit him because we've only ever spoken online. He obviously, he's one of the top acting coaches in Hollywood, if not the top acting coach in Hollywood. So I study religiously with him, and I have been for years now. So I was able to finally put a lot of that to use on television, on shows that people are seeing and stuff. And it was just so much fun. It had so much depth. I mean, as much depth as a pro wrestling show can have, in a mid-card storyline, but it was so fulfilling to do it. And then the matchups I had at the end, and I was starting to get more, in-ring live mic promo time, which I love. I never felt like I got enough of that in WWE. So towards the end, especially, I was getting a ton of it, and I loved every second of it. It was just great. It was a great way. I thought this was, a catapult to the main roster. It turns out it was a catapult back to the indies, which, is still great. It's still great. I'm still reaping the benefits of it. I'm booked solid. Everything's going well. I'm featured as in the main event of most of these shows that I do most nights, wrestling for championships all the time. I have a wonderful opportunity with MLW now. So it's going well. I'm super thankful that it happened, because had it not happened, I would have been in a much different spot, like I alluded to before. But yeah, just the year itself and the matches and some of the standout matches, especially with like Wes and Ilya, and then the triple threat they mentioned, then the match with Joe, and even the TV match with Joe with the cage and moonsaulting off the cage and all those memorable moments. I mean, all that stuff happened within like a calendar year. So it's been so much fun. It's been a wild ride, and I'm not ready for it to end. So I'm gonna keep going above and beyond and outperforming and seeing, what limits I can push and all the things that I just love to do in the pro wrestling business.